Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Gaming, and a video focused on The World Below, which is a game we haven't spoken about for some time on this channel, which is a shame. I very much enjoyed developing The World Below. It's doing very well on Drive-Thru RPG, but it can always do better. If you haven't picked up The World Below yet, I very much invite you to do so. It is available on Drive-Thru RPG. There is a link below for you to do so. This is the only game on the market for which I receive royalties for every sale. So I'm very keen, of course, on people buying a copy. So hell, even if you just watch these videos because you like the sound of my voice, if you want to pay something back for that, pick up a copy of The World Below. I will very much appreciate it, and I'll get a tiny, tiny cut of the sale. Now, I received a message through MatthewDawkins.com from someone who did pick up The World Below in hardcover, because as I have said for many, many months now, if you pick up a hard copy of The World Below, I will create a video at your request. Now, this person who just wrote to me by the name of Hugh said, I'm really interested in the Obscura, which is one of the sort of planes or dimensional effects in The World Below. And I'd love to know how you could incorporate it into your games of The World Below without it simply being a veil that you cross and enter the Obscura. So not so much a liminal space as much an environmental effect that hits you. And I really like this question for a couple of reasons. One, the Obscura is one of my favourite parts of The World Below to play with. It is kind of a cross between the Dreamlands from Call of Cthulhu, Pandemonium from Planescape. It is a plane of very weird and threatening behaviours, but one that you can feasibly survive in for an extended period, unlike, let's say, the Abyss or somewhere built from pure chaos. And I've got a good answer for you as well. It ties to a scenario that I ran at a couple of conventions, which I called the Ashes of the Soul Forge. So this is Soul, S-O-L. Soul is the, I guess, symbolic sun, which may or may not still exist for the world above. And in this scenario, the Soul Forges of Drazul is a settlement I've only ever used in these convention games, is a pre-Great Descent subterranean foundry that was said to shape weapons from living chaos itself. And recently, tremors and heat pulses have begun emanating from the abandoned forge, drawing the attention of multiple factions across the world below. Rumours speak of a new chaos well, perhaps, blooming within it, deep within the ruins, being a source of immense sorcerous power, but one that threatens to unravel the rather tenuous stability of the surrounding region if left unchecked. So, your player characters are sent to investigate as part of a sanctioned expedition by your respective guilds. So you've got the Moths and you've got the Union, you've got the Collective. But what starts as dungeon crawl quickly reveals a web of political machinations, arcane mystery, ancient moral debts, that kind of thing. So the scenario starts with your dungeon crawl theme, where you're descending into the Drazul forges, navigating collapsed tunnels, molten flows, chaos-mutated fauna and flora. You're hired for if some of the players decide they want to have particularly strong connections with their guild. Could be that they want to obtain ancient chaos tech down there. If you're more connected to your heritage, for example, there are some Darvs, a Darv cult that believes that the Forge is a holy ground, because maybe this was a Darvan settlement way back when. If it's more a dialectic-focused group, the Mycele, they have a linked society that is very wary of chaos instability near their territories. So, as in all scenarios, I try and break it down between physical, mental, and social challenges. And in this particular scenario, the physical challenges are environmental hazards like unstable bridges over lava, sudden chaos bursts, mutated stone beasts with molten cores, that kind of thing. The mental puzzles in the scenario: puzzle-locked doors that require realigning, ancient chaos-infused glyphs. The way I do this mechanically is I set a high difficulty at first for your enigmas plus intellect roll for solving this puzzle, or go down the investigation action path. And each time you get closer and closer, more enemies spawn, essentially. But if you can wipe it out in one hit, you're only going to get hit by one enemies. But each time you chip away the difficulty until eventually you can solve the puzzle, rather than it being a physical puzzle. At one convention, I did actually hand people a physical prop to represent the puzzle, and they solved it immediately, and it left all the tension, let it drain from the game. So now I leave it up to dice rolls until I can become a better writer of codes and secrets. And then you've got the social aspect, which is, of course, competing scavenger teams from other factions that are also in the forges, leading to tense standoffs, betrayals, temporary alliances, that kind of thing. Now, the forges have a twist that deep within you discover that the forges weren't simply abandoned, they were sealed away. The builders trapped a sentient chaos entity within, the Ash Spiral, being forged during the fall of the world above, composed of fire, memories, most of them twisted, painful, and rage. The Ash Spiral is almost a physical manifestation, not just of chaos, but of the Obscura. So to get to the point of this thing, when the seal is broken, the Ash Spiral awakens. It begins broadcasting what it calls, or what is referred to as dream heat, infecting minds and kindling subconscious desires. Suddenly, people are plunged into the Obscura, first mentally, but it starts expanding from their minds to consume the entire Forges of Drazul. Some of your party members will start feeling chosen by the Ash Spiral. Strange chaos phenomena start spreading to nearby settlements. You have unleashed some terrible environmental threat in the form of the Obscura. Now people's dreams, their guilt, their shame, their fears are coming to life as dream spirits. So once again, we split things into mental, physical, social. The mental challenges are dreams and hallucinations that test your player character's loyalties and their sanity, offering visions of power or tragic pasts. And you navigate who among the party or NPCs has been mentally compromised, to see who you can trust in this. So when I run it, it becomes very paranoia focused, very much like The Thing, who has become subject to the Obscura and who is manipulating it willingly. There's still social challenges, other factions arriving to claim or destroy the forge. Some wish to use the Ash Spiral's energy to terraform the caverns or wage war. You have to choose sides, negotiate fragile alliances, or turn them against each other. And then you've got the physical aspect. As the Ash Spiral grows more active, chaos storms erupt randomly in the Forge complex, altering terrain, mutating allies or enemies, and requiring adaptability in combat. This is where, in a combat scene, I wouldn't have everything like on a flat plane or anything like this. If you want to get really wondrous with it, this is almost platforming in nature, because the world around you doesn't conform to the geographical constraints of the world below once the Obscura is present. You can really start playing with a fun environment. It's something I try to do with almost all combat. I hate white room combat, but I love combat on different elevation levels, where you have cover of various different types. We have environmental threats like torrents of lava pouring through. It allows people to swing from the proverbial chandeliers rather than simply just hit each other repeatedly. So the Ash Spiral, which does have a sentience, claims it can cleanse the surface world, the world above, with its flame and restore the cycle. It offers the players power and a place in the reborn world above if they help it fully awaken, but its cleansing fire may destroy all subterranean life in the process. So quite a gamble, and you may not trust this thing. Finally, you must decide how to deal with the Ash Spiral and the factions now mobilizing for war over its power. You can destroy it, requiring ancient rituals found in other hidden ruins, and the assistance or betrayal of at least one major faction or guild or other settlement. Risks, of course, include collapsing the forge entirely, chaos storms, losing allies. You can seal it up again, which is a delicate magical and diplomatic effort, requiring factions to put aside its difference or be manipulated into compliance. And then you could decide to unleash it, assist the Ash Spire in rising, become avatars of chaos, fire, align with godlike power at an immense cost. This is a perfect scenario session when I run it. I've found that player groups choose very different things depending on the kinds of players they want, the characters they want to be. As this tends to fall within the last 30 minutes of the session, I really don't object to PvP at this point. I tell the players, if you want to start taking lumps out of each other with your characters, naturally, this is the perfect time to do it. And then we have our final challenges, again divided: physical, mental, social. Physical, massive ritual battles, chaos monsters, environmental collapse, defending a sealing chamber against waves of corrupted characters and creatures. Mental challenges would be facing the inner truths that the Ash Spire Obscura has basically poured out from you, your personal regrets, betrayals, unresolved grief. Each character faces a trial tailored to their backstory, again allowing the Obscura to really play a part in playing with your mind. And your social is negotiating or deceiving the various factions with their competing goals, possibly uniting enemies or sowing chaos to keep them out of the way. So this particular scenario is something I've used to introduce people to the loss of the world above, the Obscura being potentially threatening, but also offering hopes and dreams and wishes and so forth. Great chaotic entities that exist within the world below, the rival factions, social competing guilds, and heritages and dialectics and so on that all exist within there. This is a way of utilizing the Obscura in what I always hope is going to be a fun way. And the best thing about this scenario is, as I say, every group I've played with has run through it in a different fashion. So I hope this has been interesting for you, Hugh, and I hope that anyone watching this has found this inspirational for your own World Below games. And again, if you are interested in the World Below, please do click on the link in the video description below and pick up a copy, because I need that royalty money. I really do. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll be seeing you next time.